Hi guys, good evening and welcome. We're going to take a look at the Tier 6 Premiums, the Tier 6 Premium battleships in particular. So, first and foremost, yes, all of these ships do have 19-point captains. Yes, all of these ships are fully equipped, and only one of them, I think, or maybe two of them, were kindly given to me by Wargaming as part of the CC program. Some of them I've actually bought or been kindly given. So we're going to start with Japan. In at Tier 6 for Japan, we have the Mutsu. So, bit of history and background on the Mutsu for you. Mutsu, as we see, she's a Nagato class battleship designed using experience gained in World War I. To become one of the first high-speed battleships. The ship's armor protection was good for a time, but in addition to her primary armor, she also carried torpedo tubes. Now, to be fair, that's nothing new. You know, a lot of the battleships in the game did actually carry torpedo tubes. In fact, actually, if you look through the annals of history, the Bismarck was actually sunk by, I think it was HMS Rodney, who fired a torpedo into it to sink her at the end to take the Hulk down to stop her floating. So it's nothing new there. However, in the game, it is actually quite rare for a battleship to have torpedoes. If we look through the ones that do, we have the Genizer, we have the Scharnhorst, we have the Tirpitz, we have the Mitsu, we have the Key. I think that's it. There are only 5 battleships in World of Warships that carry torpedo tubes that are usable. So, what's special about the Mitsu? Okay, well, she's a Nagato at Tier 6. The Nagato is a Tier 7 battleship in World of Warships. So what we're dealing with here is a Tier 7 ship that's been down-tuned a little bit for Tier 6. Her guns are the 410mm from the Nagato, but as you can see, dispersion is a bit whiffy. Reload is quite a long time. Turret traverse is quite a long time. Secondaries are nothing too special, 5.8 kilometer secondary radius, but she does have a lot of them. 20 140mm guns and 4 double mounted 127s. So if we look down the side, we can see the 140s here, all these little nests, then we have these ones mounted here, here, and the same on the other side here and here for the 127mm. Her AA is, it's okay, but I mean it's Tier 6. She could do with having something a little bit there because she can come under attack from Tier 8s, obviously. But she's okay. But we do have torpedoes. So the torpedoes are 7 kilometers, 57 knots, but they only take 21 seconds to reload, and they are located right here in the middle of the ship. So, plus side, she's got them. Downside, you have a very, very narrow firing arc of them, and to get to fire them, you basically have to be fully broadside to somebody. They are almost last stand weapons. So if you are broadside to a Mutsu in close quarters combat, be very careful. You may get more than you bargain for. She is a lot of fun to play though, and you know, you'll enjoy her. She's not too overly powered, she's not too underly powered. She's got a nice model on her, she looks very pretty. That was a game I just won in the Duke of York, as I wanted to play a warm-up after work, so there you go. So that's the Nagato. Moving on, we will now look at the Prinz Eitel Friedrich. Now, this ship is a bit of a... Some people love her, some people hate her. A lot of people are a bit more of a, oh my god, not this ship again. The PEF, as she is known, PEF, PEF, was the reward ship for the grind just after Christmas. It was a very intense grind, and a lot of people did suffer from burnout, and as a result took a break. Tiger's Den, who you all know very well from Bob's, was one of those. He did take a well-earned break after getting his PEF, but he did say it's a heck of a grind to achieve it. So what is there about the PEF? Number one, she has probably the best secondaries of any Tier 6 battleship, including non-premiums. Her main batteries are pretty pants. 241 meter dispersion sounds great until you actually pull the trigger and wonder whether your barrels are pointing in two different directions. So don't worry too much about them. But these secondaries, the 8 double mount 105s and the 14 single mount 150 mils, so that will be these four here, and then all of these down the side that you see, stretching quite away amidships and a forward, are the main reason. These have a 7.6 kilometer secondary range. With a fully secondary spec captain, as per my Bismarck captain here, this thing is a real nightmare for destroyer players in Tier 6 gameplay when she's top tier. Again, a lovely model, really well placed. A bit of history for you about the PEF, as we can see here. Year of design was 1914. It's a Mackenzie class battle cruiser laid down during World War I. She had a very powerful vertical armour, which is the turtle back armour we're used to, which was a characteristic of German battleships of this period, but her main battery consisted of 350mm guns in double turrets, 2 forward, 2 astern. She has... She's okay. She's very quick actually for a battleship or a battle cruiser at this stage. She's 29.4 knots. I think the Dunkirk is the only one that's quicker, marginally. The best way to use the PEF, I would suggest, is in the Tier 6 operations of the week. With a secondary spec captain, you'll earn plenty of elite commander XP if it's a 19 pointer, plenty of credits, plenty of XP. And you'll have fun as well, because it can take a hit. It's got a decent chunk of HP, as you can see here at 52,000, so it can last. So there you go. That's the German Tier 6. We're going to do the Americans now, because the Americans are very greedy. They've got 2. No offense to Americans, but they have 2 premiums now. Both of these ships. One of them is just, its name is synonymous with the 4th of May and the devastating attack at Pearl Harbor. The other one, not so much, but it's not the version we wanted, but it's the version we've got, and we love her all the same. So number 6, we have the Arizona. So the Arizona is massively well known. It's a 1916 dreadnought from World War I. She underwent a refit and a bit of work to her before World War II. At the outbreak of World War II, she was moored up on Battleship Row in Pearl Harbor, and unfortunately she received severe dive bombs and torpedoes, which resulted in the ship turning keel and rolling over, which trapped around about 2,000 men, all who died inside her. And some are still, and the vast majority are still there to this day. She is immortalised in the Arizona Memorial, and it was the catalyst. This was the catalyst that stirred America into World War II, that kick-started the big industrial giant to fire up and start saying, if you're going to do that, brace. She is a conventional layout, 2 forward, 2 aft, all or nothing hull concept. So she was designed for long range engagements, powerful torpedo, but she's not quick. She takes a while to turn. She's not, you're not going to win any speed races in her. You're not going to win any secondary battles in her. Her guns are lovely and accurate. They're not the biggest in the game, 356 mils, and you do have 12 of them, and when they hit beautifully. So really do enjoy this ship. She's slow, but she does the job. Standard 22.1 knots. It's kind of flavour of the American battleships up until you get the North Carolina at Tier 8. They're slow, they're ponderous, their guns are good, but you're not going to win any races with her. But the Arizona is just a beautiful ship. One of the positives, if there can be such a thing, that came out of Pearl Harbor was the fact that luckily the American aircraft carrier fleet was at sea training. They were a few hundred miles away, and as a result, that's what allowed America to to carry its way forward. You know, they were able to, I think it was from the USS Hornet, they were able to deploy the B-25s on the Doolittle raid. That was a one-way mission just to scare them and say, look, we can do this and we will do this. And you know, it wasn't so much the damage the raid did. It was the hope and the way that it portrayed forward for the American people that, you know, we can do this. You know, yeah, we're going to suffer losses. Yeah, we're going to get a bit of a bloody nose, but in the end, we're going to win. And it was, you know, that kind of stuff that really rousing tales. There's some fantastic ones out there. The other Tier 6 Premium American battleship we have is the West Virginia. This is the 1941 refit out version. So as you can see, 1941 Colorado style battleships still had these big iron like nest style structures for the fore and aft for the conning towers. It was only later on that this all changed and it got a new layout completely and modernised it. However, in World of Warships, because she's basically a Tier 7 Colorado, she's had a couple of little nerfs done to her in terms of guns and secondaries and things like that, but she's still a very, very potent ship. She also has her own personal unique horn as well. Sounds a little bit like this. Which is really cool. And there was a special edition you could purchase that you can see here, which has got this really nice special camo. Just as a bit of a tangent towards the history of the ship. From the Royal Navy, we have the Grand Old Lady herself. This is HMS Warspite, Queen Elizabeth class. Warspite is known as the Grand Old Lady. She is the most... I have to get this right, else I'm going to get in trouble off jingles, so I'm really sorry. I hope I get this right. She's the most decorated fighting vessel in the Royal Navy, or at the time she was. Now, again, it's a 1915 design. A lot of the early ships in World War II were actually World War I dreadnoughts. World War I saw the quickest ever, 1908 was it for dreadnought? I can't remember exactly. It was, in a very, very, very condensed period of time, we went from iron-hulled, boats shot with weight of cannon to what we see here. Big guns, big iron beasts. So she was commissioned. She was one of the mightiest battleships in the world that outmatched all previous dreadnoughts. That was the whole point of the Queen Elizabeth class. They were designed to be the best. We are going to be the best. It was an arms race after all, and it was a game of one-upmanship. By the outbreak of World War II, as we can see, she'd been modernised. She's got more powerful torpedo reduction, reinforced horizontal armour protection, and a much better AA suite. However, she's still got the same guns. We're still dealing with the same sort of rangefinder technology and stuff like that. The same pomp and circumstance goes on. The same, I believe, this is a Supermarine Sea Otter float plane. I may be wrong there, I may be right, we'll have to double check, but I think that's what it was. I can't remember exactly. That was, you could take up, it could be launched in the middle of the ship and then recovered using the hoists, which also recovered the tenders for the boat as well. But yeah, a classic design that saw the test of time. She did survive, and then unfortunately we decided we couldn't afford to keep her anymore, so we scrapped her. I think, or did she get sunk? I can't remember. But it's a shame we didn't keep something like this, because this is the kind of history that we need to keep. Our final Tier 6 Premium is the Dunkirk. Now, Dunkirk, yep, there we go, 31 knots. She is the fastest, I thought so. Dunkirk is actually quite a unique layout, but typically French with a bit of flamboyance. As you can see, we have two quad turrets at the front firing forward. They do have very good over-the-shoulder angles to kite away with. However, you only have 2 turrets. They are both at the front. You have all 8 guns at the front pointing forward. It's kind of an all or nothing, full frontal battle cruiser attack. You know, she's, as it says here, a 1930s designer. So by contrast to all the other ships we've seen today, she's the most modern. She's the quickest. She's designed to counter heavy cruisers. So she's a battle cruiser designed to counter heavy cruisers. Hence, she has the smallest caliber guns, I believe, if I remember correctly. The secondaries are all at the back. We have a fighter on here. She's got reasonable secondaries. She's got reasonable AA. She's quick. She's pretty mobile. Actually, she's very mobile, actually. 330mm guns are not massive, but they're big enough and do the job. The secondaries are 7.2 kilometers, so they were the longest until the PEF came out. And again, you know, she is a really nice ship to play. She's fun. You can really throw her about. Be warned, once you do lose speed though, she does become very ponderous. But you will enjoy her. And it entirely depends on what you as a player find enjoyable. So that is a relatively quick for me, relatively long video for me, but that's a look through the premium Tier 6 battleships. As always, should you choose to purchase them, is completely up to yourselves. But if you are a battleship player and you want something that's not as hardcore as Tier 8 or Tier 9 and has relatively good matchmaking, or feels like it has relatively good matchmaking, something you can have fun with, still earn some credits and train your crew, but at the same time not be too concerned of, is it the best, is it not the best? These 6 are a brilliant way to spend a few quid on the game and get something out of it. And I would highly recommend it. My favourite out of all 6, part of me saying Dunkirk, a lot of me saying Warspite, some of you saying Arizona and PEF. Can't really choose, if I'm honest. I pick whichever one and I play it and I do alright. Let me know in the comments what you think the best one is. If there is anything you would like me to cover, please let me know in the chat below. Or if there's any sort of videos you want to see me release, let me know. I am trying to learn how to do all this kind of stuff, so you'll have to bear with me. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed it. Let me know any feedback, any comments, anything I can do to try and improve this. It is much appreciated. And have for yourself a very good evening, a very good afternoon, and I will catch you all later on. Bye bye, folks.